You know, it's so weird to see a company like Microsoft continually kind of hurt themselves and actually help the competition. You know, even though a lot of people consider Xbox and PlayStation not to be competition, they're actually as close to real competition as can actually be in the console market. I think Nintendo does their own thing and they do it beautifully, but I definitely think that Microsoft and Sony go after that same dollar, that same tier one gamer. Right? They both want to be the number one destination. I think Nintendo is much more suited for that extra console, that console that people buy for the Nintendo exclusives, and hey, maybe I'll play something on the go with Fortnite or whatever. But clearly Microsoft and Sony are battling for the dollar of the hardcore gamer. The problem is, much like I'm going to cover in this video, Microsoft does more harm than good, and I can't wait to get into this. This should be an enlightening video. Let's learn something. Oh, sorry. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here, Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you guys for checking it out. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel, and it means a lot to me personally. So, interesting thing, okay? I was watching this Netflix show, right? And it's called High Score. And it's going over the different things with, you know, gamers and how gamers did things in the 80s, and I'm hoping that this continues on. It's a 6-part series and it pretty much stops before PlayStation gets introduced, but they go into the Sega Genesis and the Sega plan to beat Mario and the Nintendo. So their battle plan is interesting, and they actually have this on the thing. Like the president of Sega of America went to them with a battle plan, and his battle plan was as follows: lower the price, defeat Mario, more sports, cool for teens, make fun of Nintendo. That last one resonates with me. Make fun of Nintendo. I'm sure if some of you are old enough to remember, Genesis does what Nintendo don't. And another one of my favorites was they hooked up a Genesis and a TV to the back of a drag car and had that go off with Sonic on the background playing, looking really fast. And then they hooked up, Super Mario World on the back of like this old milk truck that had like smoke coming out of it, and it was like very slow. And they were talking about blast processing and all this kind of stuff. Really kind of driving home the fact that they have a better product. You rarely see that these days because, like I said, Nintendo's not really competing with Microsoft or Sony, and Sony, they do happen to kind of take some shots like that, and I love it because that's what drives the industry. You have that competition that just absolutely is what we need as gamers because it makes things better for us. If Microsoft puts out a good game, then Sony wants to put out a good game. If Microsoft is offering a better deal on the console, then Sony has to offer a better deal on the console. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like what one does directly affects the other. And so this is something that I thought was pretty interesting, and it makes a lot of people look kind of silly as well, right? And again, I'm not trying to say, oh, well, you know, this is necessarily what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not making fun of anybody, honestly. I'm not. What I'm saying is we're in this situation where, you know, gaming and has come a long way, and I first and fully admit that. But I also think that we're at a point where, you know, it's okay to admit when something's wrong or somebody's wrong or when a company does something wrong. And even if you love that company, even if that company's your favorite, you know, you have to admit something, it's a wrong thing or a right thing, right? Like, you just can't just keep, you know, kissing up and pretending like there was nothing there. Look, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, right? Earl Thomas is a great safety. You hate to see your team let him go, but at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do, even though it was hard, because he's bringing down the morale of the team, right? You can't have that. So I can admit that as a Ravens fan, even though it hurts and your team is less than it was because of it. So in a way, it's easy to see that even though Microsoft are obviously trying to, you know, do themselves some favors by announcing the Halo Infinite delay, it in fact does sort of an interesting thing for PlayStation. It says PlayStation is doing things right by doing generations that we traditionally, think of and see. And kind of to go even further in here, there was multiple reports about Halo Infinite and the delay. So according to this, 343 Industries, when it comes to Halo Infinite, are considering multiple things. Since the actual Halo Infinite delay, there's a lot of theories and reports about what went wrong in 343's, including some that the development was heavily outsourced, which again, 343 Studios supposedly has 450 people, and yet 12 to 1,400 people have reportedly been working on the game. Other people, according to even Reset Era forum members, are saying that 343 might do next time. According to them, the team is currently looking into possibly making the game a next-gen PC-only exclusive, dropping support for the Xbox One entirely, which wouldn't be a bad thing, because despite all the people saying, hey, game scale and all this kind of stuff, it looks like they don't scale as much as people would have you believe, and multiple people are coming out and saying that. So basically, Microsoft is in a situation where they're going to launch an Xbox Series X, a brand new high-end console with no AAA software to showcase it. And even the IGN guy, and I did that in the video earlier, was talking about how he was wrong, and he's talked to devs now, and they've all said that, it's more difficult. And we've also seen developers say they don't want to make stuff on the Jaguar CPUs anymore. See, the difference between something like Red Dead Redemption 2 that looked great on Xbox One X and maybe didn't look as great on like the base Xbox One was they're still the same Jaguar core, it's still the same CPU. You know what I mean? It's still the same thing. Where if you go into next generation, a good example is the Avengers. Like, I feel like that game would be much better looking if they dropped current gen stuff, right? And again, it's easy to see that how bad Halo looked and how beneficial it would be to actually drop the current consoles and just focus on next gen as well. So again, and if that's true, you're looking at a 2022 release according to this, and apparently that's on the table. So think about this. A lot of the things that Digital Foundry said about Halo Infinite was that they were trying to hide things with fog, with mountains, with things in the way to cover draw distance. And the reason why they're doing that, a design level choice, is because it has to be on last gen consoles. If they were to delay it to 2022, probably holiday 2022, you're looking at 7+ years development time, and rumors of them having scrapped some type of Halo twice from that point on. So that's quite a significant delay. And if they do decide to scrap Xbox One, they have to go back to the drawing board with some things, because you want to showcase what the console can do, and obviously you don't want to have that limited by having things cut off that you could have. Like, it could be an open world game, or it could have incredible vast draw distances. I think that's what a lot of people are hoping for, and it's so funny to see people do that turnaround on the everything scales. Look at PC. Everything scales. Graphics don't have to scale because graphics can't be held back. Listen, like I said, I think graphics obviously were being held back because you can't go all out on the same version of the game if it's got to run on last gen hardware. And again, that Xbox One from 2013 was made with hardware from 2010. So that's incredibly telling. And to see people come out and say, hey, this game could be delayed until 2022, basically saying Sony was right, because Sony is doing stuff specifically for next generation on the PS5. Now basically Microsoft would be saying the same thing. They took the Xbox One update off of the next Forza Motorsport game, right? There's no support for that anymore. Developers are dropping support of that because they don't want to be constrained with their graphics, their game design, their developments. Can you imagine being a developer trying to develop for an Xbox One, an Xbox One S, an Xbox One X, an Xbox Series S, and an Xbox Series X, and a PC, and it all has to work on a phone too? That's a lot to ask, and developers are coming out and saying, hey, this is a bit too much. And I'm so happy to hear people actually come out and say that and sort of let people know what's up, because at the end of the day, if you don't know, then how is Microsoft going to make any changes? I've been saying this forever. Like, Microsoft needs to know, that you can come. It doesn't make you anti-consumer to do things the way they've always been done. Okay, you get a new console. You get games that are only playable on that console because they weren't possible in the previous stuff. You get better stuff at that point. That's the way it is, right? Here's hoping that they save Halo until it's good and ready and next gen only. I understand that people, were, pro-consumer, this and that. Let's just be honest. Who cares about that? At the end of the day, it really just matters that the game is good and that, fans are happy. As somebody who would love to get an Xbox Series X, I really do think that they need to cancel the Xbox One version, and then, of course, beef up the Xbox Series X version. Take full advantage of it. Otherwise, what's the point? Honestly, what would be the point at that particular juncture? There would literally be no point. And there needs to be a point to this. There needs to be something where we can look at it and go, oh, okay, well, hopefully this can be fixed sometime soon, because we need that showpiece. And the fact that Microsoft has 0 AAAs from Gears 5 in September 6, 2019, and then Halo Infinite might launch in probably November 2022, that's an incredibly long wait. How could they not have something ready to go in the meantime? We can keep saying give them time, give them time, give them time, but at some point, a company with that kind of money and that kind of backing needs to showcase what they can do, and they failed to do so thus far. I, of course, will link this in the description below. Please let me know what you think. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. It really means a lot to me getting your guys' feedback and stuff like that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please have a fantastic day. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Rack 'em up. Game on, everybody. Game on. Crapgamer, out.
Unscripted.